Hi guys, welcome to today's webinar on Mapistry Safety Suite. This is kind of a fast pitch style webinar where we're going to be diving into the product details pretty quickly so that you can get back to your busy days. My name is Jess and I'm the product marketing manager here at Mapistry. I'm going to be hosting and moderating this webinar for you all today. So real quick, a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We're going to be recording this webinar and it will be shared with each of you afterwards so that you can review it or share it with others. And then also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you don't have to wait until the end. You can submit it on the questions panel here in GoToWebinar. So I'll kind of keep an eye on them, queue them up for our speakers today. Okay, so without further ado, we'll go over to our agenda slide. So this is the introduction, but we'll also be covering the cost of workplace incidents and kind of the top safety KPIs. And then we'll kick it over to Courtney to kind of cover the Mapistry demonstration and how you can kind of keep an eye on all of that within Mapistry and use it effectively. And then we'll do a wrap up and we'll catch any of the questions that we might not have had a chance to answer yet. So with that all out of the way, I'll introduce our speakers. We've got Ryan. He is one of the co-founders of Mapistry, and he's also our Chief Revenue Officer. And then Courtney, who is our Senior Sales Engineer, and she's going to be walking you through much of the product demo part today. So Ryan, I'll go ahead and kick it over to you to get us started.
Cool, thanks, Jess. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your kind of busy days to stop in. As Jess said, this is fast pitch webinar, so we'll get through kind of the problem and then the solution that we have here at Mapistry and talk about what we do from a safety side. Similar to how we handle environmental problems, really we're focused around non-compliance and breaking down a lot of those data silos that we see with industrial companies, with transportation companies. And then also, how do we mitigate like labor shortages? I was at a conference last week talking about how tight the labor market is. How do you recruit people both at an operational production level, but also at an EHS or safety manager level? How do you fill that gap? Technology can actually help that in a lot of ways. And some of what we're going to show you today is around that. How do you communicate faster? So those are some of the problems that we're trying to address. And ultimately, on the safety side, really, we want to bring down the cost, and everything from a business side is really tied around costs, and there's a bunch of different ways to think about it. But how do we bring down the cost of workplace incidents? There's a couple of factors. One is insurance premiums, workers' comp claims, brand damage. You've seen in the news when you have really large, Fortune 500 companies especially, really damaging brand reputation because of worker incidents, especially if they're happening repeatedly, month over month, year over year. That can really damage a brand and have an impact on customers. Then internally, we hear a lot about the tightness in the labor markets and workforce issues, but you don't want to lose people, and safety incidents definitely can decrease morale within an organization. I was talking to somebody that works in a food production facility, and they're really worried about one of their coworkers got fingers basically sliced off because of workplace incidents from food production, and it's leading him to go look for a new job. We see that all the time where you have this immediate impact of a workplace incident, and then you have workers starting to leave. And then you look at fines. If you're in the aggregate sand and gravel space, MSHA, but everybody else in general industry, OSHA, but looking at just the raw dollar cost of different fines. These are all the kind of impacts to a bottom line that we can see from a cost perspective. When we look at some of the data in 2020, the total cost of workplace injuries was $163.9 billion. And that includes like wage and productivity losses of $44.8 billion, medical expenses at almost $35 billion, and then just administrative expenses of about $61 billion. So huge, huge problem focused on these safety incidents. When we think about safety incidents, one of the things as EHS leaders, and especially as risk managers or safety leaders, we want to pay attention to is what are our key performance indicators, KPIs, both from a lagging indicator side and a leading indicator side. What Courtney's going to show you from our software product today is how do we look at both leading and lagging indicators in the software system to be able to get some of those metrics and think about how are we performing as an organization around safety. So a couple of the metrics to look at is safety observations, near misses, and then lagging indicators, really those incidents, the number, the type of incident, and then use that to trace back of if we know we have X amount of incidents happening, but what type, and then we can go and start doing some training and making some changes to our program, looking at the types of injuries. And then one of the early leading indicators is how fast are we closing out corrective actions when we do have a near miss or safety observation? Are we able to identify problems and then close them out quickly? These are some of the metrics that we want to look at and some of the things we want to look at in a software dashboard. So before I turn it over to Courtney, the final thing is why digitize? Why take this out of an Excel sheet? Why take this out of pen and paper? We want to create some visibility, and when you've got lots of locations or you've got lots of people maybe working from home, working from different areas, you want to create visibility and awareness. You want to be able to track those KPIs, have those dashboards, be able to share it and have a centralized reporting system rather than it being isolated at somebody's desktop or in their binders. The same for folks on the ground that might be reporting near miss or safety observations or even just tracking incidents. You want to be able to work where they're working. So putting it on a mobile device so that they can take a safety observation when they're out on a yard or in a plant. So having the capabilities around a mobile app is really, really important because you ultimately want to make it easier for people to capture some of those leading indicators so we don't have issues with the lagging indicators around incidents. And then the other piece is really getting those corrective actions, taking photos, being able to share that information at an operational level. So you've got the visibility awareness at like a leadership exec level, but then you have that simplified data collection, share those corrective actions and photos at a site level and at a personal staff level. So ultimately, Mapistry really sees this as a platform. We're going to tie all these pieces together, both from a site worker side, collecting those incidents and safety observations into dashboards to be able to share and report out the different KPIs. With that, I want to flip it over to Courtney to actually dive into the product details.
Great, thanks, Ryan. Here we go, main screen. Okay. Yeah, so like Ryan said, what we're going to show you today, that first one is just around visibility and awareness, and that's achieved through our centralized dashboard here. So Mapistry users can log in and see quickly like where they stand for all of their kind of key safety metrics. So you've got some visibility here just through the dashboard and lots of different information available at your fingertips on the dashboard, so you can see kind of how you're trending as far as your corrective actions, closeout, reports over time, and then as well as some information by location. And so we're putting all of this in a central space. Users can log in, see what's going on, what the trends are, but further creating that kind of visibility and awareness, you can share this dashboard within your organization to individuals who maybe aren't using Mapistry regularly. So, you know, one thing is we don't limit the number of users, so anybody at your organization can come into Mapistry and see what's going on. But if you know somebody wants this information on a regular cadence, you can go ahead and set up a scheduled delivery. And what that's going to do is create a nice little PDF snapshot of that dashboard for them, and you can send it on the frequency that they want to receive it or on specific months. So that's just another option for creating that visibility and awareness through sharing the dashboard. The benefits of logging into Mapistry and using the dashboard here is this information is all going to be interactive for you. So you can say, oh, well, let me just look at what these 7 incidences were, and it's going to pull up the list of you know, where they were located, and it lets you go back to the original form from here. So you can go back and find the original report. Yeah, so the top level information is just that kind of rolling total. I'm looking at the year to date. for my safety observations, near miss incidents. The next level, we're kind of diving in a little deeper to that information. Am I seeing unsafe acts at my site? Again, these would all be interactable. What types of incidents categories are most common? You know, right now it's injuries and illnesses. And then finally, what types of injuries and illnesses are most common? So I'm seeing that incidences related to sharps are most common at these sites. As people are completing their observations or incidents, if they have corrective actions identified, I can track those kind of outside of all of the forms. So I've got a quick roll up across all the categories of corrective actions. And I can, again, this is all going to be interactive. I can see what corrective action was identified, what site it was at. And again, I can get back to the original form from here and see what was filled out. And then the last views are going to be those by location views. So I can see if there's kind of hot spots. You know, I can see they've got more, they're doing a great job reporting their near misses here. I can see which locations have had incidents. And then I can go back to the project dashboard, or I can look at the 2 incidences that were created for those sites and see the reports that were filled out. So I'm creating that awareness and visibility and having easy access to all the information that is being put into Mapistry.
Courtney, on the dashboard side, who do you typically see using these dashboards within our customer group?
It's usually people who are overseeing multiple locations. So they're coming here to get the information across multiple locations. It's, you know, also great for single locations too, because you're only going to see the information you have access to. So if you're like a regional manager or corporate level, you're going to have access to more information. You're going to see everything that's going on. If you're a local like site manager, you may only have been given access to your site. So this would just be specific to your facility. So we do tend to see it more at the like regional corporate level, but it's great for individual sites as well.
We do have a quick question from the audience. How does the information get into the dashboard? Do site managers log it?
Great question, because that's what we're going to go to next, is talking about that ease of upload. So Mapistry, there's 3 kind of main areas of Mapistry. We've got our analytics section, which is what we're showing here. The next is the site level section, which I'll go to, and then the third is the map. So I've got some site level information kind of teed up for us over here. So these are going to be the forms that your facilities are going to come to input information into Mapistry. So again, you know, I have access to these 5 sites, but if I, you know, was assigned only one site, I would only again see that one site. So I come in here, and so there's 3 main forms that we're using right now to build out this information: my EHS incident form, my near miss form, and my safety observations. And so these are all available. They can log into the website, log them here, and they're going to open them up, and it's just going to be, you know, they can fill it in. They can select from the Mapistry users. So it's going to default to whoever's logged in. Maybe the user I'm observing today is Celine. Celine's supervisor's name is Maya. And then this one's just got some basic questions about the observation. Yes, no. Is there a safety procedure? And then yes, no, any unsafe acts noted. And so this question is what's driving the information in the dashboard. So I can say maybe yes here. And then again, if I see something that needs to be corrected, I'm going to use my add a task option. And I would say maybe something like lifting too many boxes. And I'm going to have her do training on heavy lifting.
And really quickly, another question. can I customize the forms and questions myself?
Yes, so you can customize the forms and questions yourself. What we're going, so I mentioned this question right here is tied to the dashboard, but we can still change what it's saying because it's kind of on the back end that it's connected to the dashboard. But you can add extra questions if you want to collect extra information. When I'm filling out my task, I can add attachments or photos, and this can also easily be done on my mobile phone. When I save this, what's going to happen is I wanted to assign this to Celine because she needs to do some training. It's going to send an immediate message to Celine that she's been assigned a corrective action. It's going to show up back here on my dashboard. I can turn off the filter to myself and see that Celine's been assigned this task. So it's going to track here. And then it's also going to track over on that analytics dashboard that I showed you at the beginning. So these forms, they are customizable. You'll work with the Mapistry team to customize them. So we've got a team of experts that build these Mapistry forms for you. So you get up running fast and then make sure that everything ties into the dashboard as well.
Okay, one more question. So how long would it take to get the form set up?
The form setup usually takes, I would say for these types of forms, maybe a week. We're going to start with our library of forms, but you can also share your forms with us. And again, our team's done this hundreds of times. So they will look at your forms and get them. We've got our own form builder that we use, and then it just creates them in Mapistry, and you'll have access to them, be able to comment on them, and we kind of do a quick iteration feedback period, and then you'd be up and running. So again, there's this one. These are just 3 of our safety forms that we were highlighting during today's demo, but there's a number of other forms available in Mapistry as well. So I can just click into another example, the near miss form. Again, these are going to populate, up here populates with the date and time, the location of the incident, maybe that's in the hallway. And then these are going to say, you know, what type of near, are you just reporting a near miss, a concern, a suggestion, maybe near miss, my concern is an unsafe area.
And Courtney, with all this data, can you share what we can do with it? What, from a leadership perspective, what kind of questions can you ask from all these different forms and even fields?
Sure. So we can, again, so some of them are bubbling up already into that dashboard, but we can, so, you know, if we wanted to see another drill down into what types of near misses are being reported, we can, you know, customize that dashboard to bubble up different additional information. We can also create exports that just kind of line out all of the text and all of the answers that have been provided, so you can run reports and see exactly what's been put into Mapistry as well. Did that answer your question, Ryan?
Yeah, that works. Basically, we can extract all the field level data in a variety of different ways, whether it be a dashboard or, you know, even pulling it into an Excel file if somebody wants to pull it out and put it in another BI tool.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the example for the input level information. So facilities would just log in, see the site they're assigned to, and complete the form that they need to complete. Again, we do unlimited users, so you can have everybody in Mapistry reporting in that same central location. And then I guess we can kick it over for any more questions. Jess?
Yeah. So we've got a couple more. I guess this is a reoccurring one. Do the incident forms work without cell phone service? And is it possible to show the mobile experience, like completing an inspection using the smartphone?
Yeah, give me just a moment. So you can do them without cell phone coverage. Our mobile app is available in offline mode. And I can pull up, just a moment, I can pull up the mobile app experience.
Yeah, and just I can grab the other question while Courtney's getting that up about, frequency of data review. You can schedule delivery of those dashboards. You can set up who it goes to, whether they have a Mapistry account or not. So one of the questions was around who can see it and how frequently can they see it. There's a bunch of options to customize from a reporting dashboard standpoint. Those early dashboards that Courtney showed, you could set it up weekly that you could see all the near miss incidents. All that data could come in like a PDF or even an Excel file to somebody in their inbox. We know a lot of folks, especially on an operational level, aren't necessarily going to log into Mapistry every day, every week, but they still want the data that all their sites are pulling from it. So it's a nice way to get that snapshot. The other way it's often used, I know there was a question about like, how is it used? If you're doing any kind of like quarterly business reviews or monthly presentations to leadership where you have to put like safety stats in slide decks, there's a way to pull all those graphics out as like a PNG file. A lot of folks will be able to pull those dashboards out and just drop them in a slide deck for a PowerPoint. So it makes that like presentation prep really, really easy. And you can just schedule that delivery.
Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna do, oh, wrong way. Okay, so what you're seeing on my screen now is just a mirroring of my phone and the Mapistry app. So what I do is I can see the different sites that I'm associated with when I log in, and I can jump into a site dashboard. At the top is going to be the action items for that site, and then I can come down, and so if I wanted to log another near miss for today, I can just jump in, add another one. And so again, this is going to be maybe in the break room. And, yeah. And then you can also use your like text to type option. So any safety suggestions, I can keep extra towels in the break room for quick cleanup. I can report my phone number, email, and then again, add a task. And so when I'm doing an add a task, I can take pictures directly from my mobile device. So I can come down here to add the attachment. It's going to ask me if I want to take a picture. I can take a picture. I can snap that picture, and it's going to go in with that email follow-up for the corrective action that I've noted. So I need to give it a due date to complete this and assign it to somebody.
And then do those actions feed into a report as well?
Yes, so we saw, wait just a moment.
Sorry, I'm asking you to switch back and forth between all the things.
There we go. Hold on, let me pull back up my screen here. That one.
So ultimately, all those tasks will feed in, and I think, Courtney, you wanted to show where they feed in exactly.
Yeah, so we saw like that snippet of it in the safety dashboard, but they're all going to feed in to a larger task dashboard as well, where any program that you're using Mapistry for. So if you're doing environmental inspections, all of the tasks and corrective actions across all your programs can roll up into this task dashboard. And so you can, again, start to see how many total tasks have been completed, what's past due. You can see which locations are creating, which locations have the most, have the past due tasks. So this is going to be just, if you just wanted to focus on tasks and corrective actions, this dashboard summarizes that one for you.
Okay, we've got one more question. Can you do evacuation maps? So for example, can I put my fire extinguishers and eye wash stations into Mapistry?
Yeah, so the kind of third piece of Mapistry is our mapping tool. And so you can, I've got one teed up over here for you as well. So the site mapping tool, it's designed for novices to do mapping. So this one, I've got the fire extinguishers mapped out here. I can just do easy, quick drag, drop to update, add a new feature to my map. You can do, a variety of mapping. So people will use these for their, we could map in our evacuation routes, our rally points, spill kits. It's again, like I showed, it's designed to be really easy to use, not require any like special GIS or CAD training to keep your maps up to date.
Okay. Those are all of the questions that we have coming in. If anyone has any more questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. But otherwise, thank you all so much for joining us. If you think of any other questions outside of this webinar, you are more than welcome to email either Brian or Courtney. Their emails are on the screen. Those are their real emails. You won't get like a bot or anything. So you can reach out. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. Thank you so much.